Hello, this is Stephen Whitfield with Drilling Contractor. Today I'll be speaking with Mike Garvin, Senior Vice President of Operations at Patterson UTI, and Jeremy Sokol, Technical Training Manager at Chevron, about the official launch of IADC's Knowledge Retention and Education for Our Workforce, or KREW, an online learning tool for well control concepts. Mr. Garvin and Mr. Sokol are both members of the KREW advisory panel. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Stephen.
Yep, thanks for having us, Stephen.
So my first question is pretty simple. Could you go into the details of how KREW came to be? What does the group hope to address?
Yes, Stephen, I'll take that one. KREW started several years ago after the development of the WellSharp program. The majority of the work was done by a focused work group through the guidance of the WellSharp advisory panel, which consists of drilling contractors, operators, and service companies. The teams were focused on what happens in the 2-year period between well control certification and studying the effects of knowledge loss during this time frame. After studying and researching knowledge decay and gathering test data, comparing pre and post course performance, it was clear that we, in partnership with the IADC, needed to do something in between the few-day certification course every other year. The ideas and concepts behind KREW continued to rapidly evolve over the last year as the program started to take shape. The teams really turned their focus on what were those critical concepts that no matter what role you have in well control, that person must have a foundational working knowledge of these concepts all the time. By working with well-controlled content providers, we created learning modules and knowledge checks for all the critical concepts and developed a paced, continuous learning model for everyone in our industry. KREW goes beyond a simple online course platform. KREW is an entire information system developed to deliver, document, track, report, and automate how our industry receives instructional courses, training programs, and interactive simulations. KREW is built to fit into the already full schedules of everyday life with an array of learning opportunities through micro-learning sessions.
Now, obviously, the topic of well-controlled training is not new for our industry. Many companies have continued to intensify their focus on training over the years. So, Mr. Garvin, how does KREW fit into and build upon those training efforts? What has the group done so far?
Well, thanks, Stephen. I believe the fundamental issue is the drilling practices have evolved over time, particularly the last few years, and well control training has just not kept pace with these evolutions, nor is it structured to keep pace in the future. Look, we fundamentally taught the same well control course for the last 50 years because we've drilled wells the same for 50 years. It's a very exciting time that we're currently in our industry. A lot of evolving technologies around unconventional wells, extended reach horizontals, digital technologies, the ability to more effectively manage surface pressure and ECDs. The way we drill wells today is significantly different than the way we drilled wells 10 years ago. And I would suggest that the way we will be drilling wells in 2 years is going to be much different than what we're doing today. And the IADC made significant progress 7 or 8 years ago. We went from WellCap to WellSharp. But since that time, the industry has made significant changes in the way we drill wells, and we have not made significant changes to the way we train our employees in managing some of these new techniques. I believe that KREW is a platform that will allow us to tailor our training, to match the individuals, match the companies, and match what we're specifically doing in the field at any given time. As for the question of what the group has done so far, I would suggest under Gerardo's leadership, the KREW platform has been developed, content has been developed and is currently being developed and posted. Quite a bit of beta testing has taken place already. And we're overall very pleased with the progress we've made thus far. But we're to a point now where the real challenge is going to be, how do we get the industry to adopt it? And this is where we need the support of IADC member companies to embrace and encourage and drive this step change in training into the industry. So that's what I'm asking today, is we get people that are watching this, people that are leaders in the industry, let's take training to where it needs to be based on the evolution of the processes we do when we drill wells.
As members of the KREW advisory panel, you must obviously believe in the need for such a tool in the well control training sphere. So why is KREW important for our industry?
Yeah, good question, Stephen. KREW is vital to the industry because it is ultimately designed to enhance critical on-the-job skills by reinforcing well control concepts. Despite continuous improvement in well control training over the years, WellSharp data suggests that trainees fail to grasp 20 to 30% of critical concepts and only retain around 30% of new concepts learned. And this is aligned with much of academic research regarding to how people learn and how they remember information. This is also known as the learning curve or the forgetting curve. Knowledge decay can be solved by improving knowledge retention. Reinforcing previous well control training can be achieved by focusing on effective learning, structured continuous learning, and application of that learning. KREW focuses on the continuous learning aspect of that, with an ultimate goal of improving safety during all of our oil and gas operations. The structure, tracking, and flexibility built into KREW provides users opportunities to minimize that forgetting curve. Ongoing micro-learning opportunities over the 2-year gap in training will ensure all workers with well control responsibilities are as prepared as possible to mitigate and handle high-risk well control events.
What do you expect the long-term impact of KREW to be on well control training in our industry?
Well, that's a wonderful question, Stephen, and I think that is what this is really all about. Jeremy mentioned earlier that learning does degrade over time, and we know that. But I don't think it degrades to the point where we should expect our employees to be completely retrained every 2 years. And what I mean by that is our current expectation is that our employees go back to the same training every 2 years that they had 2 years prior. If it was a 3-day or 4-day or 5-day training, they repeat that training every 2 years. Do we really think that they've completely forgot the entire training every 2 years? And if not, why are we making them repeat the entire training? I believe that there are certain concepts, important concepts, that they need to be reminded of periodically, but not do the entire training. I mean, we don't expect people with a 4-year college degree to go back to college and repeat the entire 4 years of college periodically. That would be unreasonable. But I would suggest there are concepts and components of fundamental well control that people will forget periodically, and we need to refresh and remind them, but not take the full 4 or 5 days. What this KREW platform does is it enables us to structure training such that we can provide reminders and refreshment of key concepts. But as the industry evolves, as technology evolves, as drilling processes evolve, we can have specific training that we provide to our employees so they actually learn something new on a continuous basis, and their knowledge evolves as the industry evolves. And I think that is critical. That is what is the long-term benefit of this, and this is what we should be thinking of doing differently than we've done in the last 50 years.
Well, gentlemen, thanks again for speaking with us today. We look forward to seeing how KREW develops as a training tool over the coming months and years. It should be interesting. We appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you for visiting Drilling Contractor.